Kaylee here from Khaos Bikes. We'll rip around exploring some areas, not too far from camp, just having a good time.
You want to try it then?
We ended up here at this super overgrown trail and decided to see where it takes us. So I started heading down, fighting my way through these branches here. We nearly ended up getting stuck in this valley, and I'll tell you what, it was pretty crazy. Lucky we got out of there. And we ended up going over a big drop, and then shortly after that happens, my camera died and I didn't notice. Now we've made it to the hidden entrance, so we're heading down into this secret location. Cole's got some hella bent bars here, but he's still giving her shit.
Fuck, that's tricky as a motherfucker.
You'll see as I reorient my bike here how steep this really is.
Yeah, like this is insane.
Holy moly! Start heading up the hill. Front end comes up a little high. I get my feet off the bike. Bike comes around.
Yeah, that's fucking baller!
This somewhat ominous footage is some of the last that you see me being ambulatory and mobile before things go completely sideways. Mike made it up the right side. He didn't take the same line that I was aiming for, but nonetheless he made it. Now let's see how he makes it back down.
Around this side here and down. Don't go, there's a stump there, eh? Or a rock.
Oh, Kurt called it.
Now we're on to my fourth attempt. This is where the signs of trouble start.
Yeah.
No matter how many times I kick it, my bike does not want to do this.
Yeah. The bike doesn't want to do it.
But against my better judgment, despite the warnings, I decide to get her going anyway with the bump start. Now when you get back on the bike, you can see I was going for Mike's line, but I just didn't quite make it. It's super loose and uneven up here. It's pretty steep too.
I should have just committed harder.
And commit harder, I did. But maybe not hard enough.
The following footage features photos, video, and audio from a real life-threatening crash. Viewer discretion is advised. Do not try this at home.
On board with me for the final destination. Let's see it in full speed with no cuts. You can see that before I even let out my first scream, the bike is off of me. Now let's take a look at the aftermath. We've got a couple lucky shots from the helmet cams. A couple of shots of me 7 hours later, lucky to be alive and not paralyzed. And then 2 weeks later, you'll see I got bruises and broken bones all over the place. I'm gonna let you have a watch of this super raw footage from Mike's helmet cam. This is about 1 minute after the crash happened.
You've already moved everything you could have broken, so you're pretty well off. Collarbone and ribs are fucked up. Yeah? Hand up. Yeah.
We fashioned a basic sling so I could walk my ass out of there. Let's see it from some other angles and see if we can find out what went wrong.
Fuck. Yeah.
Now we're on board with Mike again. He was sitting on the side of the hill. And super close call. He almost gets mushed by my bike as well. There was almost two of us completely obliterated at the bottom of this crazy hill. Back down at the bottom of the hill here with Craig on the third-person camera. And here you get a really good view of what went wrong. We're going to talk a bit more about that in a minute.
Are you alright?
No, he's not.
He's
No,
winded.
he's
Okay.
He's moving everything.
Yeah, good.
Helmet.
Here's helmet.
Now we're going to do the play-by-play. So right about here, I start to lose it, but I keep up the throttle, but I lean back too far because I was sitting down. So that's the tipping point. Now here's the coin toss, and I lost. Into the Pavlovian response, into the oh shit, and then all of a sudden I'm flying. This is a big drop. 10 out of 10, perfect swan dive. Playing catch with myself, trying to cushion the fall, and then smash, a huge impact. Somersault. Now I'm upside down. Complete carnage, and then here's the big thing. The bike's coming at me. Getting crushed. And then the bike, my hand, my injured leg, and then getting completely smashed and broken under everything. Now, I probably should have been standing, and you know when I got to the top, chucked the bike up the hill, but here it is again with no cuts. The absolute worst experience of my life. That's right, Khaos Bikes is back. Surprise! Getting rolling, of course I'm on my beta 125RR race edition. Got Mike and Papa John. It's been about 13 weeks roughly since the accident. And here we are back on the trails, feeling pretty good about it at this point. It's a bit hard to see, but we got a side by side on the left there. I'm sure you can see him through the glare. A few of his buddies are up front here. We're trying to negotiate our way through. I end up getting sucked down sideways on my ass end here. Buddy offers me a hand, but I've got it under control.
Should be alright.
I figure, hey, I can try and get up this. It's not too bad. And as I set that weight down on my bike, I quickly find out that, nope, bottoming out the bike on that hill there. So just lean the bike back a little, basically like a slow pivot turn. Get somewhere where I can get some traction, and we are out of here. Catching some pretty good air there. You'll see my hand come up here. I'm throwing some gang signs at the guys back there so they stay to the left and don't go over this cliff. This killer drop coming up is way bigger than it looks. It's gotta be 3 or 4 feet. Now we're coming up on this huge wooden bridge that's meant for trucks that I absolutely did not build. I'll tell you, it sure feels good to get back on 2 wheels and just fucking let her rip. And here we are at the elusive and majestic Volcano Ridge. Fall is definitely setting in around these parts.
Fucking far out.
So I've never really ridden on ice before, and right here it almost goes bad. I tried to, act normal over it, and it just really didn't work. And then there's some more ice right here. This almost goes even worse. Oh boy. Negotiating these killer sections is sure a lot of fun. Coming up on the sweet log hop, which I nailed totally. Some clever editing here. I'm coming back around to hit this log hop a second time. But I end up coming in on totally the wrong line and I miss it. Come in here a little quick and get distracted and just take a minor spill. Thankfully it was nothing major. We're taking the dog for a run up on stallions. Can't you tell she's excited?
Not bad.
And now,
I figured.
cue the hillbilly chase music as we chase the dog back to the car.
This hill is a little cunty. Stay to the left.
And then we roll up on Mike. It's a similar view from one of my past videos where Mike's off the bike and figuring out himself after a crash.
We're coming up on that intersection. When we hit it, turn left.
Of course, it wasn't the quickest way back. I mean, it's one of the more direct routes, but it's definitely one of the more difficult routes, considering it's some really steep single track. And since the last crash, I don't have a visor on my helmet anymore, so the sun was in my eyes the entire time. It was just a really incredible, difficult climb. This intersection is a memorial bench for someone else. I'm not sure if they died out here or not, but that's right up on top of the world.
Fuck. Holy Holy goddamn.
And knowing this was one of the final rides of the year, I was just fucking pinning it. You see right up here, I'm just flowing. Just riding through all this, jumping, catching some air. Just absolutely feeling it. Coming up to a relatively tricky section here, I just keep her fucking pinned. Come up through all these rocks, no problem. Cutting across this road, this section's pretty tricky too. It's really loose and slippery. I'm just trying to keep my momentum through here. A little bit of paddling with the legs. Coming up through here, losing a bit of traction. Kind of losing my momentum, but made it up to the top here, eventually. And this last section here is quite steep, quite uneven, and you're already tired from this crazy climb, so when you get up here, you're just like, whew. Now I'm super flowing this again, catching some air, coming up this hill again.
Yeah, that was fucking
Like two big ass jumps. That was fucking so sick. See, now I'm spending my time focusing on this downhill that's coming up instead of focusing on my riding, and I just fucking come through here so poorly. It's double log. I usually have no problem over. It's where I gain time on people, but it just fucking eats me. It's still damn steep and loose.
Holy, it wasn't too bad, but fuck is that ever steep?
Another trail, and this line is pretty fucked up. It's pretty rough. Come through here with relative ease. That's where it gets really nasty, especially if it's wet. The GPS popped off. It's just absolutely chucking you everywhere. But if you go the wrong way, there's like a foot and a half, like a hole pretty much dug from other people. It's pretty bad. Now as we're making our way by Fisher West, I decided I'm gonna hop over this log, but it fucking rolls and kind of bucks my ass up. I was like, whoa. Now we're getting up here on one of the easier single tracks in the plain. Not really much to show you until we get to here, which is the beginning of Cow Pies, which is definitely a bit of a tricky trail if you're not prepared for it. Just sailing up here, I'm leaning back and kind of floating that front end, sitting down. I was getting pretty tired by this point. Not too tired for a good log hop though. And again through here I'm just trying to keep my momentum and trying to keep it together. And I kind of lose it right up here. I mean, once you lose your momentum, you're fucked.
Fuck, I'm really struggling up here today.
Now I'm getting tired and I don't want to have to fail, so fucking almost loop it instead. It gets fucking harder. And believe it or not, we're actually running Cow Pies the easier way right now. You'll see in a couple of minutes here as we go back down the other side.
Whew. There's just fucking no room for error up here.
This part and the next little cut that I have to make coming up here, kind of some of the sketchier parts.
Oh, someone's cutting a new way because it's so fucked up. That's funny. Never had the luxury of that new way last year. Just going straight up that shit. You can find it in one of my other videos. Forbidden Fruit, I think it's part 2.
I mean, first of all, it's tighter than a nun's twat through here. It's reminiscent of pecker poles, so it's quite tough. And then I'm just trying to keep my momentum, so I'm really on the throttle, just feathering that clutch. I mean, 2 strokes like that. A lot of really tight shit in here for sure. Coming up here pretty sick, just flowing with the bike, feeling it out. Become one with the bike. Here's my best attempt at what I could do getting up here without really knowing. And for being fucking bagged like I was, I think I did a pretty damn good job. And here I'm thinking, oh, you know, the hill must end soon. I'm just gonna cut around here and hopefully make it a little easier. But as you see, we're still climbing this mountain, for better or for worse. Just fucking giving her best I can. And it kind of looks like there's a road down to our left there, but there's actually not. It's just more mountain. Use a bit of traction there. And then here my bike almost dies because I'm in like second or third gear, just pinning it. Shift back down and we're on the roll again. Getting even steeper here. And I'm like, oh man, what am I gonna do? So, trying to pick my line, I just fucking give her again. Get bucked off, and now I'm really reconsidering my options.
Fuck me!
Of course, as Mike sails by on his torquey 4-stroke.
Oh man!
You could call this the hill that just keeps on giving. So this is kind of the beginning of doing these switchbacks to get up here. There's no way I can go straight up it, especially not from a dead stop. Putting on traction control there. And this is only the second time ever, and the other first time was this year, but this is only the second time ever having to use this switchback technique to get up a hill. Unfortunately, the other time was not recorded because the camera had died just as we got up to it. And really, you never want to stop like this in these kinds of hills. Puts you in a really shitty position, but I ain't going back down, so I'm just gonna fucking try and give her some more. Can you imagine the rooster tail I'm kicking up? And see, here's that switchback again. Cutting these S's up this hill. And as I approach the top, you'll see Mike coming to make sure I made it up. Now, Mike tries to get up this hill, which is somewhat reminiscent of the hill that really fucked me up a couple of months ago. And I decided, hey, I'll come and have a closer look. He ended up going to the right side there. I thought, I'm going to take a run at it and see how it is. And it's just super loose and sketchy. I didn't feel right. I figured I seen another way around, so I figured it's not worth the risk and might as well see what else we got. As I cut up through here, you'll see I ended up kind of where Mike got up to. And he ended up having to come rip across this, I'm assuming, as well, closer to the top. I'm out of there on a nice wheelie, but come to a dead stop. Something ends up grabbing me and throwing the front end down. Just losing all my momentum again. I'm just bagged by this point. Now, video really never does any of this shit justice.
Alright, let's not fuck this up now. That bridge is fucked.
Finally, back on extremely familiar and close to the car territory. As we're coming up on Mike's bridge, I saved you a bit of the video of us fixing it up. But here's the last cliffhanger, folks. The end. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more videos throughout the winter and some more fast-paced single-track action next season. Be grateful, take care of each other, and most importantly, take care of yourself. Another huge shout out and thanks from the bottom of my heart to the crew who helped save me. Papa John, Mike Mazzara, Craig, Cole, Curtis, the captain, my mom, and Matt. Without you, I may never have been able to get to help. Thanks for watching. Tune in next season for more hardcore single track, and until then, be grateful and be safe. See you next time.